ain't no disco.
This ain't no country club neither.
This is RVA. Welcome.
Hey, it's been so long.
I know, we're finally back after a long Christmas
It feels like it's
break.
been forever.
It has, but you are listening to Oh Lala in the Dungeon. Just want to let you guys know what we're doing tonight. We'll be talking about all the fun we've been having on our break. We have an amazing guest, surprise guest. Yay! We're enjoying some of her wares right now. What else are we doing?
Of course, we have our Drop It On Us Big Daddy segment.
And I'm going to talk about some teetotaling today.
Oh, I wonder why. And then we're going to talk about a great local Richmond band that we have seen several times.
And some restaurant recommendations as well. So stay tuned for all. What have you been up to, Olivia? We've done a lot of stuff together.
It feels like a big blur. It's literally been over a month since the last podcast, but we celebrated Christmas. I went to upstate New York as usual on Seneca Lake, and I spent most of my time with my mom, and I was cooking and listening to Christmas music and wine tasting. But then when I came back to Richmond, I was ready to party. So I saw Liz and Matt, of course, my family here, and we went to Southern Railway Tap House for New Year's Eve. We were the oldest people there, but we really enjoyed the dancing and the music. And shout out to the DJ Jay Woods. He was great.
He was really good.
The song selections were really good. Yeah.
It was one hit after another.
He got me dancing. Everyone was looking at me, but
no one else knew the music. No, I'm just kidding. It was...
They were in diapers. And then, oh my gosh, Liz and I watched the craziest, trippiest movie ever. It's called Enter the Void.
Yes, it was. My mind is blown.
It's all about what happens when you die and what happens in the afterlife after you die, which is really bizarre in the movie. And then I learned that the lead actor in Enter the Void, Nathaniel Brown, is actually from Richmond.
What a coinky.
And it was his first and only film. But I
know, and we need to figure out which high school you went to.
Oh, yeah, I can figure that out. And then one more thing I wanted to mention. Liz and I are, this is kind of a lie, participating in Dry January. We did mess up a little bit last weekend, but we're back on course.
It's a damp January.
Yeah, a little bit damp, just a tiny bit. But my resting heart rate is getting better from it. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Yes. Yep. Done a lot with Olivia, as she said. Had Christmas with the fam. Enjoyed staying over at my mom's for a couple nights. Then actually having my dad in town after years on the West Coast was wonderful. We are looking to adopt a kitty.
More specifically, an orange male.
Yes, an orange male kitty to frolic with Boudreaux.
Is he single?
Because rumor is they're the friendliest.
That's what we hear.
Black
My mom
eye.
has, I know, well, we would take whatever, but there is one named Rocky Mountain High that hopefully we will be adopting when he becomes available.
Reminds me of a John Denver song.
I know.
He was born.
I think we're going to change the name to Sir Hams-a-Lot and call him Hammy.
Oh, that's cute.
If it fits when we see him. You know, you have to see your child before you can really decide on a name. We went to a really nice oyster roast out in Mannequin Sabbath. That's where many of us slid off of the Dry January train. It was Alejandro, our good friend's 40th birthday, so I mean,
It was for a good cause.
It was. We livened up the party.
You can say that, I suppose.
And then Matt and I have been going to a lot of U of R basketball games, and they have all been nail biters. Oh my gosh.
Oh, they have been playing exceptionally. That's all I got to say. And they've been winning every game we've been going to.
I know. Well, in their division, the Atlantic 10, I believe they are in third right now, maybe second.
It could be second.
On that, but they've won 7 games in a row. So Woohoo, go Spiders, even though I'm a Ram.
That's Spider life.
I know. I told my dad, I was like, what's going to happen when I go to the VCU game? Because I went to VCU, but you went to U of R. I don't know. It'll be a battle of wills.
Battle of the
turmoil.
children and fathers.
Anyway, that about wraps that up. I would love to now introduce our esteemed guest.
Cue the classical music.
And the clapping. She's very classy. Please give a warm welcome to Funmi Mohlie. I know I just butchered that.
No, that's absolutely fine.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, you did well.
Hailing from London, in the UK, if you guys didn't know that. Get out your geometry books. She worked in the luxury industry for over 20 years, including Harrods, where she got to experience an exquisite afternoon tea. The seed was then planted. The whole concept started when Funmi, her husband, and kids moved to Virginia in June of 2020. As they were getting settled and as a way to entertain people, she started hosting British afternoon teas for friends in their home, and she would call them Mummy and Me teas. I should say that in a British accent. Mummy and Me teas. More and more requests kept coming for larger events. Encouraged by her friends, she decided to start a quintessential British afternoon tea company with a twist, bringing the experience to your home or location of choice. Thus, Funmi's Royal Tea was born. Yay! And I know you had more in your bio, but we will be digging into that with some probing interview questions.
Everyone get their probes.
Yes, that's right. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show.
I wish we were videoing because we do have a lot of content. We took a lot of pictures. Some video we'll be posting.
Are prim and proper today.
That's right. I have my pinky out and I'm sipping some delicious orange blossom tea. What are you guys
I
having?
have the blue lady.
Blue lady.
That's me today.
And I'm having a delicious white tea.
Oh, it matches your ambiance. Okay, can I ask the first question?
Of
because
course,
I always
darling.
ask the same.
Go ahead.
So, we know you're not from Richmond, and we were talking. Can you explain to us like how you came to London? Because
Okay.
I think it's super interesting.
Okay, sure. How I came to London? Oh, my husband is originally from Richmond, actually. So we met in London, and so we got married there, and we were married for 9 years before we moved here. And so he wanted to move back and be closer to family. And so that's how we came to Richmond here. Originally, I actually wanted to go to California, but I convinced him otherwise. I was like, I'm not going to California because he doesn't have any family there. So I was like, why would we go? So, yeah.
And you're originally from Nigeria, right?
Yes, I'm originally from Nigeria. I was born in Nigeria, and my family emigrated to London. That's when I was 7 years old. So I've basically grown up in London all my life. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so my brothers and sisters were born in London as well. So, yeah.
So do you ever go back to Nigeria at all? Or
The last time I went was back in 2018 for my friend's wedding. She had moved back from London to Nigeria, so I went for her wedding. But that's the last time, but I haven't been back since. What we're trying to do is go back to London now every 2 years. So we are going this year.
Oh,
in June.
nice.
It's like looking forward to it.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Thank you.
You said you moved here in 2020. So how did COVID impact
my
even
gosh.
starting this idea?
Worse, don't ever move internationally anywhere in the middle of a pandemic. The worst thing. But luckily, what was good was a lot of people were supportive of us in terms of moving. Everything worked out. Because I was applying for my visa way before the pandemic happened, my green card. And I actually got my green card physically stamped on my passport and my passport back to my house 2 days before lockdown happened in the UK.
Oh, wow.
because if I hadn't gotten it back, I would not be going anywhere. They would have kept it. So I was super lucky. And then when my husband was applying for a job, he didn't realize there was a hiring freeze. So, okay, we're moving. There's no job. There's nothing. We end up moving anyway. But when we did move, luckily his parents had a property that we could stay at. So we were able to stay there rent-free until we were able to afford a property of our own to buy. And then my husband managed to get a job within 2 weeks of us landing.
Oh, wow.
Here. So everything worked out fine. Although it was in the midst of the chaos, it did work out fine. So, but just don't move in the middle of a pandemic.
Well, hopefully we won't see another one.
Yes.
Like, I mean, they seem to only have it every 100 years or so. So
I don't want to be around for the next one.
I know, right? Please.
Bring it on.
So how did working at Harrods, and maybe you can give a little background to our listeners too, like about Harrods. I mean, I know it's like the quintessential, like it's the full experience going in and seeing like a classic store where you can, have your tea there and do shopping and all that experience.
Oh gosh. So the company I worked for is based inside Harrods. So the company I worked for was actually a very British company called Smithson's. And they have the royal warrants. So they actually sell goods. That means you sell goods to the royal family. And they buy exclusively from you. And that means, and they will have their warrants on their, their name as well as an advertising thing. So our company was based inside Harrods. And in Harrods, oh God, it's changed so much. I feel like it's become so much more luxurious than it was before. So working in there was a different experience altogether, because the clientele that you have people that will spend easily $16,000 on a handbag because they can. And that's the kind of clientele we dealt with all the time. So I've served celebrities, royal family members.
I was going to ask that.
I have. So one of the British royals that I served was, I can't remember her name. I think she's married to Andrew, or one of the other brothers, one of Charles's brothers. But
like Fergie?
No, not Fergie. So I forgot his name.
The other one.
The other brother, the younger brother.
Okay.
So I served her.
No one cares about him.
Because no one really knows. So I've served him, but I also served the Queen of Norway.
Oh, wow.
She did a special order with me, and I had to meet her quite a few times to go through. She had, she wanted a spectacle case that no one makes. So we actually exclusively made it for her and put a royal emblem on it for her. Oh, wow. And it was weird. I was like, do I curtsy? Do I bow? What do I do? So I met her in Harrods, but you've met a lot of celebrities. In terms of the restaurants, where I had my afternoon tea was one of their biggest ones. They have several, like maybe 40 restaurants in this building. So one of the biggest one and one of the fanciest one in terms of there's marble everywhere. And I think if you go to a hotel like maybe the Four Seasons or the Ritz, it's even more exclusive than that. So that's where I went. I took my mother-in-law and my father-in-law there with my husband.
Wow.
So we went there to have tea. And with their afternoon tea, you are continuously fed until you tell them to stop. And you think, oh, it's just a little sandwich, just a little cake, I'll be fine. But no, because they keep on, it's like, do you want more? And then you can choose so many different teas that you want as well. So it's just amazing. Yeah, that was good.
I want to go.
Me too.
So then you parlayed that what you saw.
Yeah.
Because when you were at Harrods, did you actually work in one of the tea areas, or no? No.
I just
worked.
I had the experience there, and also, to be fair, when I was in London, and even before I had the afternoon tea experience, I never liked tea, because before it was just tea bags, and it's like it tastes horrible. I don't want tea. I was hot chocolate or nothing at all. And then I had afternoon tea in a different hotel with my friends for her birthday. I was like, you can have different types of tea. It actually tastes nice. I didn't know this. So that was in my mind. I was thinking, this is so amazing. So when we came here, and because I don't drink coffee anyway, and So I thought, I love entertaining people. I love hosting. So I wanted to do fun things for my friends who are maybe they're off work for the day or they have time, because I wasn't working at the time. And so I thought this would be an interesting thing to do. And they could bring their kids over and they can entertain my child as well. So I'll do the whole setup of the 3-tier and do everything. And they weren't expecting it because I didn't tell them what they were expecting. I just told them to come. And then I gave them the British afternoon tea, and I made the scones myself. I actually made a clotted cream myself, which takes time to make, but I actually made that myself. And
so good.
Yeah. So the more I did them is how I got into it afterwards. Yeah.
That segues perfectly into my next question. Okay, so what exactly is afternoon tea, and why is it not like nighttime or morning? Can you tell us some history?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so afternoon tea was actually started by the Duchess, a Duchess in the UK called Anna. She was the seventh Duchess of Bedford, and at that time, they didn't have an afternoon meal. They had breakfast and dinner, and that's because they had a late breakfast and a late dinner before they went to Hyde Park to party or whatever they wanted to do. So they had nothing in between. So she thought, a bit peckish, what can I do? So she just started hosting these teas, and then she'll have sandwiches, scones, and everything, and it will be for the upper class at that time. So that was afternoon tea. And the way they did afternoon tea was you just be sitting on your couch or lounging in the garden. It wasn't anything too formal, but the setup was really fancy as well. Now, the middle class or the working class would have afternoon tea, but they'll have so their afternoon tea was more in the around about 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock, because it was for the afternoon to break up that time when they haven't eaten. And then so the middle class or the working class will have their afternoon tea around about 5 p.m. after they finished work, because obviously they were working, they didn't have time to lounge around. So but their one was more of a meal. So they'll have pies, they will have soup, they will have warm things, not sandwiches and scones. So they will have cheeses, anything that was more filling for their evening. And they will have that, like we are sitting around a table with chairs. And their one was actually named high tea, because you're on a high back chair and you're sitting high back rather than lower ground.
Oh.
So there is a difference between high tea and afternoon tea. They're two completely different things. One is actually a meal, high tea, and afternoon tea is what you have experienced, the scones, the sandwiches, the 3-tier thing. So that's the two differences between the one. But I think over the years, people have just started mixing the two, calling them exactly the same thing. So in the UK, although they know that people are talking about afternoon tea, they call it high tea anyway, because they know that internationally, a lot of tourists will call it high tea, meaning afternoon tea.
And high tea sounds like royal, which is weird that it's the opposite.
It is that. That's why I used to think, until I read about it, I was like, I didn't realize it was two completely different things.
Yeah.
But once you know the history about it, But today, with the hotels or any restaurant that offer afternoon tea, they know what you mean when you say, can I have a high tea?
So do blue collar workers though still do the meal like that, or is it different now with like modern times?
With modern times, you just have breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Okay.
It's just normal now, and this was just something that got introduced at that time, and this was back in I can't remember. I think it was back in the early maybe 1800s, 1700s.
Okay.
So it's not something, it developed over time to something else. Yeah.
And was it basic then, like with one type of tea, or was it tons of different teas?
So at that time, the British have, because they had so many, there was a British big empire.
Sure.
So they did have a lot of tea
like with
farms
the India
around the world.
Trading Company or whatever. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So they would have imported a lot of tea. So they would be having different types of tea, not just your standard.
Okay. But then I assume the working class had like Earl Grey.
No,
no.
It's probably they will probably have access to it, but it's more the quality of tea.
Oh, okay.
So like with any tea, it's the quality that you get. So they'll probably get the same type of tea, but the quality will probably be different. Gotcha. So the upper class may have had access to a variety of quality tea. And then as you process one thing that you got to understand about tea, the more you process it, the more it loses its quality and its tannins, the flavors that you feel and see and the color as well in the teas. So they probably had access to the other teas as well, but it would just be of a poorer quality. Yeah.
So like grocery store tea, is that not that great a quality?
Oh gosh, don't get me started.
It's basically the worst quality.
Because the idea of the tea bag, I think that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So the idea of the tea bag came, actually, the Americans invented a tea bag.
Of course, we ruined everything.
You did it.
Cheap. Gross.
Out of convenience.
It was out of a convenience because at that time, how I made your tea right now, you saw that we had a strainers and you had to strain it and you had to let it steep, wait a few more minutes before you could actually drink your tea.
And I messed up and I have a bunch of tea in my cup.
You should have used a strainer.
I'm an American.
So at that time, it's taken too long to do all of this. So they will have you ever seen those tea eggs or the infusers?
Yeah, I've seen that before, yes.
So they'll put the loose leaf tea in there and then put it in the cup, and that's the easy way of, getting your tea quicker. You still had to let it steep for a little bit, though.
We have one of those, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have one where you put it on top of the coffee mug and you just put the
loose leaf tea in it.
tea
I
inside.
like that.
Yeah. So in that time, they used to have the eggs or the so you can actually it'll lock in. It's like a tea bag, but it's a metal one,
Right?
And then you dunk it inside your tea.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So even that was a bit. So we're talking about the 19th century now. So the
industrial revolution.
Yes. So they want something quicker and convenient. So at that time, an American called Thomas Sullivan. Okay, so Thomas Sullivan back in 1908 decided, let's put loose leaf tea into wrap it in a bag that we can. So it's still loose leaf tea, not the pounded powder that you experience now, which is not. And then we can still dunk the tea, and it will give us the flavor that we wanted. Again, they thought it still takes too long, so they started crushing it and pulverizing it. It was more for convenience that will release the flavor quicker, and then you have your tea instantly instead of waiting for it. The problem with that is, like, if you're into wine, which I don't really drink wine, but
I love wine.
if you're into wine, you know when you have too strong of a flavor, if it's too strong or if it's too weak or anything. So what that does, it gives you the instant flavor too quickly, but not the quality of the tea.
Okay.
So what you're tasting is not the pure, especially when you taste the white tea, it was completely different. So you're not tasting the purity of the tea, because when you have loose leaf tea, it releases the tannins slowly rather than instantly. So you can rebrew it as much times as you want.
I've always been told the slower things go, the better quality it is.
It
like
is.
With food
Like a stew.
Yes.
Like cooking
cooking
over hours.
meat really slowly throughout the day.
So going on to powder, what do you think about matcha tea? It's like a green tea that's been, pretty much in a powder form.
Oh, I've seen that. I haven't actually
tasted
tried
it?
No, I
Okay.
haven't tried it because I'm into the leaves. So I haven't tried that yet. But I need to try that. But I've seen that. So, but that, I don't know.
Well, go to Dunkin' Donuts. I'm just joking.
I know that's really matcha's having a moment. I don't know.
Okay, no, I'll try that. I haven't tried that yet. But so that is the thing about tea bags, essentially. So when you're having, I would suggest you try, maybe if you like Earl Grey, you try the Earl Grey in a tea bag, and you try Earl Grey loose leaf, and see the difference in terms of what you think.
I'm sure I'll like the slower cooked tea.
Yeah, I mean, we've switched to mainly loose leaf, except I can't find that lemon that I love. But I'm going to try what you said.
I'm going to find it for you and send it to you.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. No, I love it. I just love how bright it is.
Yeah, I'll find that, send it to you. So herbal tea. Yeah, you definitely have that.
This is like a out of the blue question, but do you have any like funny or crazy stories about serving tea time to what do you call it, like your
Or
clients?
like funny faux pas that have occurred?
Like, did something break, or was a kid being crazy or something?
Okay, so I've broken about 2 teapots myself. So yes, I've broken items. Funny thing. Oh, I think when I was explaining something and about boiling point, I said 280. I was like, boiling point is 212. So I was like, oh my gosh. My husband reminded me, like, boiling point is 212, not 280. And this is my big explanation. That's the only faux pas I've had so far. Anything else? Oh no, I don't know whether I should say it.
You should say it. This is the podcast.
Okay, so this is my this was my mother-in-law's tea party, and I organized it for her. And the people that came, I know them as well. So one of my teas, which is called Assam, one of the teas, but it's organic Assam.
Okay.
And she kept on saying, organic Assam? What does that say? Exactly. Exactly. I was like, stop it. And once she got that into my head, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to reword that on my thing so you don't say that. I was like, so yeah, that was
cute.
But her kids were also there. I was like, what are you saying?
This is not British.
So, does your husband work a lot of the events with you?
Only if I
Typically, or-
need him to. So
Okay.
if there's the last event you saw him at, he helped me with that one. But only if I need him to. So otherwise we'll watch the kids. So.
Why don't you get into like kind of what's included in your typical setup? Like if I called you and said, I want to have a tea party like for adults right now. Let's do adults first.
Okay, so for adults, so what you normally have is a choice of probably 5 teas, depending on how large your event is.
Mm-hmm.
So I cater for up to 20 people, but I can do more, but I'll probably need more notice for that. So it will be a choice of teas. Then you've got a variety of sandwiches. So I actually have a menu that you can look at.
Okay, great.
Online. So you have a variety of sandwiches from salmon, egg, ham, chicken, vegetarian and vegan.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll have a variety of cakes you can choose from, pastries, fruit, as well as your standard classic British scone. So you can either have that with raisin or you can have it with just plain. And then with the scone automatically comes clotted cream and jam as well.
And
What's
which do you put
clotted?
on first?
I do want to know, what is clotted cream?
Clotted cream is basically heavy cream that's so how do I do it? So it's heavy cream, which is hard to find actually, heavy cream, and then you leave it in a low temperature in the oven for about 24, maybe not 24 hours, 11 hours, 12 hours basically, 12 hours in the oven at the lowest temperature you can get in your oven. And it's that layer on top, that hard layer on top of the cream, so that fat, but then you let it sit for a while, put it back in the fridge for another 12 hours,
Oh my God.
then you scrape it off, and that is your clotted cream.
And what does it taste like?
It's not buttery, but it's very creamy and it's very sweet, but it's not that
Almost
sweet.
like it's a weird mix between cream and like Greek yogurt.
Yeah, that sounds
but it's a bit
amazing.
thicker. It's a bit thicker
Yeah.
than that. So
That sounds
it's
really yummy.
really, when you make it yourself, it's so much better than when you buy it, obviously. But it tastes so good, and that's basically the biggest thing for when you have a scone. You have your clotted cream. It's standard. You just have to have your clotted
I
cream.
have to have a real tea time.
Yes, and there's a big debate on, do you put the clotted cream on first or the jam? I'm of the clotted cream.
And so am I. I love the clotted cream first. It is a big debate. I think it's between Devonshire and Cornwall.
Okay.
So Cornwall, they claim they had the first ever clotted scone and clotted cream, because the Earl of Devon was in the 11th century was the first one to introduce bread with your clotted cream and your jam and stuff, and then that became a scone. And so, but they say the reason why you have the clotted cream first is like how you have bread and butter. You butter your bread first, and then you add the other topping on top.
Makes sense.
Right?
That makes sense to me.
perfect sense. However, in Devonshire, they say, well, because the scone is warm, because it's usually served warm, if you add the clotted cream first, it may melt. So you add the jam first to protect the scone, and then add the clotted cream on top, and then the clotted cream doesn't melt.
That does kind of make sense.
That
too.
does also make sense.
gotta try both.
They are
I
very.
disagree.
I disagree as well. Because technically you're going to put the other top on top. But then
Yeah.
again, it's how you eat it. So
True.
if you only eat one piece, you don't eat it like a sandwich, then that makes perfect sense. So there was a big uproar. Uproar. It happened in Landrake Hall house in Cornwall. And basically what happened was there was a picture of the jam first, then clotted cream. No. This is, sorry, I mixed it up. It was Devonshire had the clotted cream first and the jam. Cornwall have it the other way around,
Okay.
jam first. So in Cornwall, in a fancy hotel, which had VIP clients and it was very exclusive, they had a Mother's Day event and someone had posted a picture of the clotted cream first and then the jam.
Oh my
there was a
gosh.
big, I'm not joking, there was a big uproar and people were threatening
Oh my god.
Oh wow.
to take away their membership and avoid the
Wow.
club completely.
They're very serious about
They
that.
were very
Wow.
serious about it, to the point where the person, whoever posted it, got reprimanded. I don't know whether they got
Oh
fired.
my gosh.
And then they had to create little badges with a hashtag jam first.
Oh my gosh.
And they made a public apology in the newspapers.
Wow.
So it is very important when you go to Devonshire that you make sure you eat it the right
It's
way.
illegal.
It's illegal.
Oh, well, I'm gonna start posting pictures and say hashtag cream first.
I think I should do that stuff. Green first.
Right?
But even the celebrities in the UK, they have that debate. They have that debate. It's like,
funny.
no,
Oh,
you
that's
can't
funny.
have it that way. You have to have it this. Like, but the late Queen, she used to have the clotted cream first.
Oh,
See, she does everything
basically,
right.
we're royalty is what.
No,
you
sorry.
said.
No. She had the jam first. Sorry, I'm reading it wrong. She had the jam first, then clotted cream.
Oh,
Sorry.
my.
So I'm sorry.
gonna uproar.
Well, then, I bet Harry does it our way. Since he's excommunicated.
Okay. So, what is your favorite kind of tea and why?
So my favorite teas at the moment, I have a Duchess Grey, which is actually an American tea, which I found here. I went to an afternoon tea place here, and they were served. I was like, this is really nice. And that was the first tea I've ever had without any sugar or milk. That's
Oh,
how
wow.
good it was.
Wow.
I was like, oh my gosh, okay. And then it would be all the Greys, Lady Grey and Earl Grey, because I think they all have the same distinct, is it bergamot? Taste and smell. They all have the same. Although Lady Grey is a little bit more citrusy. So that's yeah. So that would be my favorite teas, and I have tons of them in the house. Yeah.
That's cool.
How have you? I see books here, but like, has it just been doing tons of research over time? And where do you pull from? Like, mainly getting books or online? You know.
Yeah. So when I first started, one of the advice I got given was, if you're going to do this, know your stuff and know it well, because people are going to ask you questions, because what will make you different from anybody else,
Sure.
which makes sense. So I started reading. One of the things, books I got was the Tea Sommelier. And it's a step-by-step guide. And this actually really helped me to know how to brew tea correctly. Like how I showed you, you need to have each tea comes at different temperatures, and you have to have the filtered water, and you have all of the things that you need for tea. This explains it really well, and the reasons why. And so this book has really helped me to understand tea better in terms of brewing the tea and the equipment that I would need. Then the others were more about the different types of tea that they are. So you've got the Tea Enthusiast Handbook, and this tells you all the different categories of tea, the history of the tea, and what you should expect from when you brew a tea as well. And the same thing with the
Harney and Sons.
Yeah.
So pretty. It's a
Harney and
nice-looking book.
Sons, yeah.
Which
Guide
we
to
have some
Tea.
of their tea. We're already
Yeah, and I
getting-
noticed that you do have some of their tea. So they have very good, quick guide to tea. It's basically the same. This one has more good technical information in terms of steeping time, brewing times, and colors that you see, and this one's good for history and where tea comes from, actually. Yeah.
Any crazy interesting fact about a certain tea that stands out or that is surprising?
So oolong tea is actually it stands for dragon tea, because apparently the way it's rolled up and shaped looks kind of like a dragon. So I was like, that's very interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. So oolong tea will be it's very interesting. And it has although it has quite a bit of caffeine in it, not as much as black tea. It does have some health properties, but it depends on the type of oolong tea you choose. There's so many as well. And it's because it's done over like wood and a fire coal kind of thing, you get that smoky, sometimes you get that smoky, strong taste flavor in it as well. Yeah.
Interesting.
This is a random question. I learned about that tea needs different times to steep from Teavana. Have you ever been to Teavana, like at the mall? They like give you
No.
I don't know if they still have them. Do they still have Teavanas?
I haven't been to a mall in like a year.
I don't really go to malls very often.
Back in the
mall would it be?
college days. I'm from
They had one at Short Pump.
Oh, they
I know
did?
they did.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really nice to go. They have chai tea, which I love. And what is chai tea? Do you know? Off the top
Chai
of your
tea
head?
is basically, you're saying milk tea. You're just saying tea. It's just basically
TT.
Yeah.
I'm familiar.
So chai latte is basically, you know, when they say chai latte, it's like milk tea. You're basically saying tea. It's another language. I think it's I'm not sure. It's
like Indian.
Is it Indian or I'm not sure which one it is, but it is basically you're saying tea.
Because it's so, it tastes not a hot chocolatey, but it has like that kind of like warm holiday feeling when you drink it.
Yes, and it also depends on which kind of chai tea you get, because I suppose the chai tea you've been introduced to does have that kind of holiday feel, but you can get different types of chai tea as
Didn't
well.
know that either.
You can get tea. There's vast thousands of them, and if you think about, they're made in so many different countries: India, China, Egypt, Africa, Japan, all over the world, here as well. And because of the country and the topography of the country, you'll get green tea that tastes completely different in different countries. So
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really similar to coffees. Like
Yes.
different roasts have different flavors, and it really depends on the environment where it's grown and
Different roasts for different folks.
I was wondering, like, so did with the trade, like from, China, especially, and they have like tea ceremonies, did that kind of help impact or not really?
Well,
The way that tea started being served in England.
No, I think with the British, you just change it up.
Yeah.
So they didn't necessarily adopt the way that the Chinese did their tea, because now people are into the way the Chinese did their tea with the proper cups and everything. So they didn't necessarily adopt it.
Okay.
They had their own way of doing it.
Right.
So I think it's more to make it simplified. So they took the loose leaf tea and they just branded it the way they wanted it to. But then they started growing their own tea in India, obviously, and that's where you get Darjeeling, Assam, and the other one. But there's 3 different types of tea that come from the different regions in India, and that's where they started growing when their empire hit them. But it did not necessarily translate like, oh, this is how the Chinese do it, let's do it the same way. No, that didn't happen.
Tea has such a rich history.
I know, it's interesting, very interesting. But you don't only do tea. No. Tell us about what you're starting up.
So I'm doing so for the kids, because I've been asked about kids' tea parties. So I'm starting something called a mini royalty. So my tea is Funmi's Royalty, which is my name. So for the kids, it'll be mini royalty, and they will be having hot chocolate, because you don't want to give your kids caffeine. So
Or sugar.
exactly, they'll have enough sugar in their system. They don't need the caffeine as
A
well.
little Benadryl.
A little sleepy time.
So they'll have hot chocolate, and they'll have a choice of hot chocolate. So at the moment, I've got mint hot chocolate, white hot chocolate, caramel hot chocolate, and your normal hot chocolate.
I want to
Yum,
go.
I know. Yes. So, and then will it still be like the same kind of sandwiches? Or are you doing more like cake focus?
Yeah,
for the kids,
so
or-
there's sometimes I know kids don't tend to like fish, so there'll be no salmon in their sandwiches. So more simplified. So they will have a choice of sandwiches as well, but more simplified for them. So they'll have the ham, chicken, and obviously probably not peanut butter because I'm conscious of allergies. So probably jam and butter, and they will have the same cakes to choose from. So they'll have a menu. And they can have a choice as well, whatever their parents decide they can
Right.
have. And they'll have herbal tea as well because that doesn't have caffeine in it, so they can have that. Yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Sounds adorable. Oh my
I
gosh, and they
know.
all get to dress up in little
They
cute
can dress up
dresses.
if they want to, but the only thing that'll be different for their tea is with the cups that you guys have, where they have a tea for one, where the teapot and the cup comes together, and they can separate it. So they have their own, so they can actually physically pick it up and not have the bigger
Yeah.
tea.
And break everything?
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Okay, I'm going to name some scenarios.
Okay.
You tell me what tea you would drink, given the mood or the vibe. All right. I'm sick with the flu. What should I drink?
Chicken noodle soup.
We'll be get that. So it'll be your herbal tea. Any of your herbal tea will probably be better
Any
for you
herbal
than drinking anything else. Something to put you to sleep. It will be probably chamomile tea. Robius tea is good in terms of it's a very strong herbal tea. Have you ever had Robius tea?
Yeah.
I've
I've
heard
had
of
that
it.
before.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
When we
very
were
strong.
we went to South Africa and they had a lot down there.
Yeah, and probably your mint tea is also good. Yeah, anything that just probably citrusy just to get your vitamins back up. So, and the good thing about herbal tea, they've got a lot of that. They've got a lot of variety of different types of tea that will help you with.
Variety.
Yeah, a variety. I like it.
What about I have insomnia?
Ooh, man.
Chamomile. I
Chamomile,
think. I
okay.
think chamomile.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. How about I just want a little burst of caffeine, not too much.
Any white tea. White tea has the lowest type of caffeine you can get. That, yeah, white tea. And it's also very soft, so definitely white tea.
How about if I'm dead and I have to like do a work presentation? So hit me with the hardest caffeine you got.
All black tea. All black tea, they've got the strongest, highest content of caffeine in it.
Yeah, and that can
Yeah.
rival coffee, I think, just in the caffeine content.
Really?
Yeah, it comes close, but not.
Yeah,
coffee,
it's not-
coffee still.
is the king.
Coffee's
Okay,
definitely. Yeah,
I prefer
up there.
tea though. It seems easier on your stomach. Like a lot of times coffee gives me, it's too bitter. It gives me a little bit of heartburn. Shall we move on to some funny questions?
Ooh, funny questions.
Oh, yes. I'll go
Scared.
first. If you could be anybody from the royal family, who would you be? And I know my answer.
It would have to be Princess Diana. I
Oh,
loved her.
She was lovely.
She was lovely. I love what she stood for. Actually, when I was in school, I did a project. I used to study art. So technically, I'm also an artist because that's what I studied when I was at university.
me too.
So, oh, great. So I did a kind of a mural for her. We still have it at home, and it's got it's her face, but it basically has. I made her face from newspaper clippings. So a collage in
cool.
newspaper clippings of her face, and it's everything that was written about her. So nothing on there is not written
Wow.
about her. So yeah, and I've got a biography. So yeah, definitely
That's
Princess Diana.
cool.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
cool.
Liz?
I would say Princess Di as well. Like I was obsessed with her. Something about my mom, like when she was younger, reminded me of Princess Diana. Like just their mannerisms and her hair was kind of like Princess Diana's. Like it was weird, but like I always felt like, oh, she's kind of like
She
my
has
mom.
that vibe. She really does.
Yeah.
I love your mom. I would be Queen Elizabeth because I love corgis.
Oh,
So that's why.
Matt.
Who am I of the royal family?
Yeah.
Prince Harry.
You're going rogue.
Yeah, I'm a maverick.
You're not the spare.
Liar.
Spare him.
I'm glad you haven't been to Antarctica. No.
Oh my god.
Well, Matt, do you have a funny question?
Yeah, so this is kind of random. What is your favorite candy bar?
That was very random.
It will be you don't have it here. It will be Galaxy.
Galaxy, okay.
So Galaxy have a range of Galaxy Caramel especially. The closest, which is actually better than Galaxy, which you do have here, is Lindt.
Oh,
This was so
Oh, yeah.
all the European chocolate is just so good.
Yes.
So Lindt
I
chocolate.
know.
It's some of the best. Yeah.
I would be a Reese's peanut butter cup because I love chocolate and peanut butter.
European for me would be petite éclair, however you say it. It's like this cracker that has dark chocolate on top of it. So good. But American Kit Kat or
Kit
Twix.
Kat.
Well, if we're gonna go, okay, I would pick. You know those biscuits, like the they have the chocolate in the middle.
Chocolate sticks, like those long ones.
No, but they're circle. They're like
Oh,
cookies
yeah,
that have
yeah.
the chocolate in the middle, and they come in a tin. I don't remember the name. If you were on a deserted island and can only bring 2 items, what would they be and why? Tea, perhaps? No.
No, definitely not tea. Am I allowed to bring a cell phone?
Sure, but
It
what are you
won't
gonna
work.
charge it?
I'll probably have to bring a book so I can read one of my favorite books. Okay, so I love murder mystery books. So it will probably be, I've got the big chunky one. So one of the Agatha Christie, multiple big books. And probably a photograph of my family. Definitely a photo, because I need something to keep going on. So a photograph of my family. So something to read and a photograph of my family.
That's a good one. I would bring a magnifying glass. That way I could start a fire and
smart.
I could look for stuff. And then I would bring sunscreen because that can kill you.
Yeah.
I would bring an ice skate and a volleyball. I'm just kidding. Wilson. Okay. I would bring a cage of, like, so I could catch crab legs, and a lighter so I could make them edible for me.
So I would probably bring a pot so I could boil water.
Smart.
Well, I'm going to build a pot like by weaving grass
And-
together.
And I could potentially make tea.
And
yeah,
what
that's
else?
true because you got in nature.
And what else you bring?
Probably an axe to chop down some trees.
Or a person.
It's a deserted island.
A fish.
Well, that concludes that segment. Thank you so much.
You are absolutely welcome. Thank
That
you
was
for
so
having
much
me.
fun.
Yes. But you can still join in.
Before we move on, though, how can we support your business? How can our followers support you and follow
And where can they
you?
find you?
Oh, I've got my website, so you can go onto my website, which
And
is
we'll link that.
ceruleumllc.com. And then there's the different tabs for all the different things I offer on there. So that'd be great. And I'm also on Facebook and
Okay.
Instagram. So you can also find me on Facebook and Instagram with Ceruleum LLC as well.
Perfect.
Cool. And
Yeah.
like
We'll link
Liz
that.
said, we will link it.
Yes. All right. Well, that brings us to, I think, maybe a little dancing time.
We want you to check out Maya's belly dancing. She's an incredible belly dance teacher. It's so much fun.
It is.
And she has some exciting news. She opened up her own dance space, and the address is 10049 Midlothian Turnpike. It's in Suite H, and that's in Richmond, Virginia, obviously. And here is the schedule. On Tuesdays at 6 p.m., Maya does Belly Dance Foundations 1, which is where you can start the belly dance journey, like for beginners. Thursday at 6 is Belly Dance Workout Intermediate. So this is perfect for dance and fitness enthusiasts with some belly dance experience or just looking for a great workout. Then on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m., there's Belly Dance Foundations 2, which is to elevate your dance skills and your technique. And lastly, on Saturday at 11 a.m., she offers Belly Dance Workout All Levels, which is ideal for everyone. It's a blend of fitness and belly dance artistry.
So everyone check out her Instagram, Facebook, Maya's belly dancing.
RVA.
That's right. All right. Well, I think it's time for
All right.
Big Daddy to drop it on us.
All right, guys. Today I'm going to talk about teetotaling to tie into the tea topic and dry January. Starting off, teetotaling, there's a theory that it possibly came from the mispronunciation of total abstinence. And in England in the 1830s, Joseph Livesey of the Temperance Society, which is an anti-alcohol society, addressed a meeting and he stuttered and said, total abstinence at the beginning. And that's the theory behind teetotaling, one of them. And so,
That's hilarious.
and so tying into that is dry January. And who has been participating here? And here we have a hand from Liz, Olivia, myself. I've been going dry.
Funmi, do you partake of alcohol at all?
I don't really drink alcohol, but I haven't been drinking anything in January either. So, yeah. So I'm partaking.
So I was curious and I did a deep dive, and it was first reported in 2008. A New Yorker did dry January, and it was just kind of on a whim, like how am I going to feel after this? And then Emily Robinson from the UK was inspired by his movement and started the International Dry January campaign in 2012 to train for a half marathon. It started with 4,000 signups and eventually ballooned to 130,000 worldwide.
Wow.
And as of 2021, 35% of U.S. adults were participating in dry January, which is pretty substantial.
Yeah.
And so I kind of wanted to go to some drinking facts. Now, people who are more likely to drink: adults ages 35 to 54, those with a college degree, and those who attend church less than once a week are more likely than other Americans to partake of the beverage.
That's interesting. Those with a college degree.
I can't believe it's not people who are younger. Like, in college.
Well, I mean,
Y'all
gotta do
youngins aren't
something.
drinking as much.
I'm drinking everybody.
You're the outlier.
Maybe they're not admitting it. That's why.
So, U.S. states with the highest drinkers are New Hampshire and Delaware.
Ooh, that's because they don't have sales tax, so they don't feel like they're losing as much
Not
money.
surprised.
U.S. states with the lowest drinkers is Utah. Not surprising. I mean, you got your Mormons there. And they don't like to drink.
Well, some of them are like
Publicly.
East Coast Mormons. That's the new thing. East Coast Mormons, they don't follow the rules.
So the average American drinks 494 drinks in a year. Wow.
If you go to Oktoberfest every year, does that skew it the wrong way?
that only elevates that to what, 900?
Wow.
And so if you do try January, you can save hundreds of dollars because, you know, the average price of craft cocktail, $12 or, you know, more than that. Yeah, higher. You can improve your sleep, increase energy, enhance mental clarity, boost your mood, improve your liver function, lose weight, and moderate drinkers can lose 2 to 5 pounds just by skipping alcohol for 1 month.
And resting heart rate will drop.
Yes, you got it. And but tips for dry January: you still want to unwind? Try something like a tea.
Yeah.
Teas like chamomile, lavender, peppermint, they all have calming, soothing properties. What's another alternative? Cannabis. And you can try CBD oil or hemp-based drinks. And of course, if you want to have something like a drink, you can do a mocktail. But however, these can have a lot of calories, so they can just be empty calories. What can you do during dry January? You can work out, go on some hikes, yoga, learn a new skill and a musical instrument.
Smoke some green.
Game night.
That's actually one of the things, game night, and you can take a class. So feel inspired.
Yeah,
That concludes Drop It On Us, Big Daddy.
I I am feeling so inspired.
How about let's move to our restaurant of the
Oh
week?
my lord, I have a good one for you guys. I don't know if I've mentioned them before, but I'm gonna mention them again. Osaka Sushi in the River Road Shopping Center in like the U of R area. This is a high-end sushi place that I love,
yummy.
and I recently went on a date here, and it was a great date. I highly recommend their Mount Fuji shrimp appetizer and the incredible roll, which is spicy tuna, tempura crunch inside of it, topped with filet mignon, red caviar, and spicy mayo. It's so good. Oh my gosh.
hungry
It's
right
very
now.
expensive though, but I didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
For a cocktail, I recommend their Manhattan. It's delicious. It's
Ooh,
not too
yummy.
sweet. It's very well made. So yeah, that's mine. Liz?
Mine is Pinky's.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yes. It's at 3015 Norfolk Street in Scott's Addition. You can get some food before you go drink some beers. In February, of course, not January. I'm shouting out their brunch specifically, which I've been to with Lindsay.
Oh,
Fumi that's how I met Fumi, at an event that our friend Lindsay had. Anyway, so I would get either of their starters, which are delicious. They have the zeppole, which is like a little fried donut or pastry with powdered sugar, and they have a choice of like toppings. I think there's like a caramel sauce, or you could do something a little bit healthier. Or the other starter is the giardino board, which has fruit, cheese, crostini, and all the fixins. It's really good, like for a group, you know, like your charcuterie board. And then I always get the croque madame with prosciutto de Parma, Iberico ham, Asiago manchego cream, pancetta, yes, more meat, sunny side up eggs grilled on crostini with fresh fruit and a side of breakfast potatoes. Oh, so good. And you get that nice picture where you kind of cut into your sunny
love
side up
that.
egg
Slow
and do it in
motion.
slow-mo. Yes, that's my favorite. And then I usually get the Le Bol with that, which is their twist on an Aperol Spritz. It's very refreshing.
I do have to say something about Pinky's.
Yes.
A person like me with a sensitive stomach loves this place. They have it's like the gluten-free hub of Richmond.
It's true.
It's so good. And they have a fried chicken that's gluten-free. And it's delicious. And they have it on the brunch menu. And I highly recommend that if you have sensitivities.
Yes, and I mean, it's just fun to go there because especially when it's warm weather, they have a huge window that spans the whole restaurant, and it's like one of the garage style ones, and they raise it up.
It's a great atmosphere.
It's open air. So hopefully it'll be spring sooner rather than later. And we can enjoy that. Well, that brings us to the band of the week.
Oh, Lord.
Madame.
And we're lucky because we are going to a wedding where they're playing
Yes.
Mashup and Cozy Condition. Hailing from Richmond, Virginia, Mashup and Cozy Condition, which I didn't know was a part of their name, is an electrifying 8-piece ensemble that melds vintage funk with modern production techniques. So they basically take popular songs, they put their own spin on it, and mash it up with another song in the same key. It's always a treat to see them, and they always get me dancing. For real, like everybody's dancing. They really get everyone hyped up. And you can catch them at the Poorhouse in Short Pump a lot of the time. But their next gig is on January 26th, so soon, at 8 p.m. at JJ's Bar and Grill on Staples Mill. Shout out to JJ's.
Yeah.
They're also playing at the Midlothian Great American Ranch on February 3rd at 9 p.m., which is kind of late to start. It's going to be a late night. It's a fun place, though.
Yes.
And like I said, they're playing at our friend Cheryl's wedding, and we're going to see
Can't
them.
wait.
So excited. It's going to be a great wedding.
Hopefully
band.
we can get them on the podcast.
Oh, yeah, that'd
coming
be great.
up.
I'll get them.
All right, well, let's do some shout outs. What you got,
All right,
man?
I'll go first. First, shout out to Funmi. Thank you so much. It was so much fun
Yeah,
getting
thank
to
you
talk
so
to you
much.
guys.
Thank you for having me.
And then shout out to Southern Railway Tap House for putting on that epic New Year's party. It was really fun. Shout out to Osaka Sushi. Shout out to Mashup and Cozy Condition. Shout out to the the Short Pump Poorhouse. Shout out to my band because they wanted me to shout them out again. Shout out to Are You Randy, baby? Hi, Randy, David, Zach, and Jason. I love you. And the Ember Music Hall, which I went there for the first time. I saw a local.
I want to go there.
It's really nice. A local EDM DJ competition. I went there. I think it was like last weekend. Had a blast. Loved it.
Nice. Shout out to U of R Spiders, basketball baby. Shout out to Toast because we have been going there literally after every game because it's pretty much the only place near there that will take reservations. Shout out to Pinkies. And Matt, you got anything?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to shout out Kindred Spirit because they are taking the place of Castleberg next to Hardywood.
Oh
so that's
God.
kind
Another
of exciting.
Opening? Or
Yes.
They're moving?
It's going to be their satellite location. So they're going to have 2 locations.
That's awesome.
Shout out to Cerulli LLC, which hosts Funmi's Royalty, Mini Royalty, and Funmi's Home Love as well. So you can come and have British afternoon tea to a location of your choice. And I'm be very happy to serve you.
Yay! And I'm
Coming. I want to do the mini tea.
Yes, from experience, I know it's amazing. From the event where I met her, like it was so much fun. So please go to her webpage. Like I said, we'll have it linked on our website and book a tea.
Yay!
Yay! We will see you guys next time. We also have a crazy, awesome guest, perhaps in the music field. We'll leave you there.
It might light you on fire.
Dun, 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 dun.
And go ahead and check out our Instagram, our Facebook,
Yes, follow us.
our TikTok.
At olala_RVA on Instagram, and on Facebook, I believe it's just olala in the dungeon.
Yes.
Bye, guys.
See you next
Love
time.
you. Bye.
Hear you next time. Bye.
Bye.